I'm going to give you two formulae for sums, right? The first one is the sum of a finite number of terms, Sn, is equal to n over 2 multiplied by 2a plus n minus 1 multiplied by d. Now this is very easy because you can notice here that d is just the difference. As per any normal arithmetic sequence, n is the position, or specifically here the position of the last term of the finite sequence. In other words, the number of terms that you are adding. Okay, and then that's exactly the same thing. A over here is the first term. It's of course the actual value of the first term, and once again n is the number of terms that you are adding, and Sn determines the value of the summation, right? Now finally, the last thing that I need to mention here is that there's another formula, and this depends. The other formula says Sn is equal to n over 2. Now I'm not going to do the proof of this in this video. I'm just going to go straight into the applications, and a little bit later on we deal with the proof, where a is the value of the first term, exactly like the a in there, and L is the value of the last term of the finite sequence that you are adding. You still need to know the number of terms that you are adding, right? So let's go into our first example. We're going to use this formulae, and if you are part of my grade 12 class, you need to know that there are no formula sheets, so you need to memorize the formulae, right? Okay, so I'm going to tell you, given a is equal to 3 and d is equal to 4, find the S10. Now when I say S10, this simply means I need to find the sum of 10 terms, right? Okay, so let's do that. Now this here is really a given sequence. It may not be explicit, but the moment you have the first term and you have the difference, it is as good as giving you the entire sequence. That means the first term is going to be 3, the next term is going to be 3 plus 4, which is 7, the next term is going to be 11, because I've given you A and I've given you D, right? Now I want you to solve for Sn. Well, the sum of 10 terms is equal to, let's make it general for now till we get used to the formula. Sn is equal to n over 2 into 2 times a plus n minus 1 times by d, right? And you're going to see when I substitute now, I want you to always put your d in brackets, whether it's negative or positive, right? Because it's very dangerous if it's negative and you don't put it in a bracket, it looks like separate terms, and then that's just not worth any marks in an examination. Okay. So Sn equals n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 multiplied by d. So I'm interested in the sum of 10 terms. I have to put there 10 over 2 in the position of n, right? Because it's 10 terms. I want to find 10 terms. And then I say 2 multiplied by the first term, which is 3, plus n minus 1. N is 10, so 10 minus 1 becomes 9. Can you see that? And then d over here is simply 4. It was given, and you can clearly see that the difference over there is 4. Okay, so let's close that. Let's work that out. That's going to be 5. 10 divided by 2 is 5. That is 6. And that over there is 9 times 4 is 36. Okay, and that's fairly simple because that's the equivalent of saying 5 times 42. And 5 times 42 is just 210, because 5 times 40 is 200 and 5 times 2 is 10. So that's 210. That's the one way of doing it, using this formula, right? Now, remember I told you there's another formula, and the other formula looked like this. It was Sn, I'm going to write it over here, Sn equals n over 2 into a plus L. Now you know we're looking for 10 terms, and you know we are looking for, we've got a, but we don't have L. L means what is the last term of the sequence? What is the last term of the sequence? Well, let me help you out a little bit there. you're simply going to look for the term, the value of the 10th term, because we want to find the sum of 10 terms. The value of the 10th term, because this year, the last term here corresponds to T10. So you know that Tn is equal to A plus n minus 1 times by D. Right? And T10 for the sequence is equal to 3 plus 9 times D. What is D? D is 4, right? And that's very simple. That's 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 3 is going to be 39. And now we can go to our formula over here and we can substitute. We can say, okay, I now know I want the sum of 10 terms. I also know it's the position of the last one. If you're going to use this formula, you must have the last term. If they didn't give it to you, then you need to find it, right? Which is what I'm doing over here now. So n over 2, because it's 10 terms, again you put 10 in n, 2 there. A is going to be 3, right? And the last term is going to be 39. And now you'll notice 39 and 3 is exactly the same as 36 and 6, because 39 and 3 gives you 42. And so that becomes 10 over 2, which is 5, times 42, which is equal to 210. So that's the first example. Very, very simple and very easy, right?